Well, this is a very difficult question to ask. As you go through a series, as books come out, people say, what's it about? You're conscious of all the story before you don't want to spoil. So I had to say, small spoiler is Sonia has a son. He's now grown up. He's off trying to make his mark on the world. He's going to he's going to end up in prison. I think I can safely tell you that because you won't know how if you haven't read the third book yet. And then that's going to compromise Daniel because he has this friendship going with one of the Sachakan ambassadors. And suddenly they're on opposite sides. So that's going to really put a lot of tension in that sort of relationship. And then, of course, he's got Tayan there who also complicates that situation. And then Sonia, of course, at the end of the Rogue, she was heading off to Sachaka for to negotiate something to do her little bit of political story, which I won't go into. And so, of course, once their son ends up in jail, that's going to compromise her mission as well. So it's the thing that messes up everyone's plans at the end of the Rogue.
Mm. Yes, I'm wondering what's going to happen when Sonia gets there. She's in transit at the moment for me.
Yes, she's got a few things to find out about Sachaka, about Akaran, and about her son.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to what's happening with Akaran. That's the big mystery for me.
Yes.
He's one of my favourite characters.
Yes.
At Continuum last year, the science fiction convention here in Victoria, Australia, there was an ethnicity and sexuality panel talking about minority groups being represented in literature. Your Traitor Spy trilogy came up. You were being held up as an example of a writer who's written homosexuals with neither fear nor favour. You've put them in situations where they're discriminated against, but others where their relationships are actually accepted. And people have commented on this. How do you feel about these discussions of your books?
I expected it. When I was first writing the Black Magician trilogy, I did wonder if I was really, stirring a hornet's nest somehow. And I asked a few people. I asked another writer. I asked my agent. And they all seem to think that, no, write the story you want to write. I do remember my agent said, if you're at all worried, about the publisher, not finding a publisher because of this, then don't put so much of it in the first book. But by the time you get to the second book, well, they're signed up now. They can't do anything about it. Well, they can, but, and I never had anyone, professionally say, it was a bad idea. Every now and then you will get the email of the person who just doesn't like homosexuality at all. And I had one the other day and I just remember going, yeah, it's just water off a duck's back now because, there's nothing you can do about that. But what's reassured me is it's so, so rare. Maybe 1 in 1,000 emails someone will have an objection to it. And usually it's it's usually a very reluctant rejection. As if, particularly this last one I was saying, but I'll still read your books because I love the stories. The main fear was actually that it wouldn't ring true for homosexual people because I'm female and not homosexual. I just knew people throughout my life who were. And I think it's a thing where, of all those different others that we talked about in that panel, so you've got race and you've got sexuality, but and gender and things like that. I haven't known as many people who had the other issues. This one, I suppose, is the one where I had friends where I'd heard them talk about it, sort of was able to empathise with their perspective because I had someone to talk to. So I guess I had more confidence in writing about that sort of thing. At the same time, really worried that it wouldn't ring true. I know in The Traitor Queen, after the Black Magician trilogy was published, I'll occasionally get someone say, you've got male gay characters in this. What about lesbians? When do we get to go? Well, I can do that. So yes, that's how it's half of the reason why Lilia came to be. The other half was because someone said to me, well, with these sorts of issues, you can't have an evil gay person. I went, try me. So, yes, I can't say how that all works out without spoiling the plot, but Yes, I had a lot of fun with that one.
Yes, I'm enjoying the relationships on both sides, and I'm still trying to work out whether Daniel and Tayend are in the process of being political post-relationship or whether it's a romance that's developing. So
Not, my lips are sealed.
I am intrigued. You're into Pinterest in a big way,
Yes.
and you've even started your own casting wish list.
Ah, yes. I've always had a casting wish list, I must say, ever since the beginning. And I know that again, I've got the art side of my life. And so I do tend to be a very visual person. And I know that that's why I find Pinterest really, really interesting. Because I just, if I'm bored, I can just get onto Pinterest and see what the latest shiny things are, And I go look in the art section and I look in the places and the people and things like that and find things. If anything, I have to really restrain myself from pinning like mad. With the acting wish list, that was inspired because I went on to YouTube to see a trailer that I think the Polish had put together. And of course on the side there were other videos, and I saw all these casting wish lists that people had done and uploaded, and I thought, fantastic. So I spent about an hour looking through people's wish lists and going, yeah, oh, looking up the names.
And it's interesting that you're into Pinterest because I'm looking at your writing space behind you and it looks a bit Pinterest-y.
Yes,
Pinboard.
I've always had a pinboard going, and it has two functions. I'd have lists of people, characters, and naming conventions, because I have naming conventions for each country. I know in Karelia, the women tended to have names that ended in ear, and men tended to have names that ended in consonants and things like that. So I have lists like that. I have maps that I was drawing. At the moment, I've started writing a new story, and the main thing I have behind me is postcards and photographs of things torn from magazines that have inspired me or get a picture in my mind of what a character looks like or a setting looks like. I must admit, the other day I was at the art centre and I was seeing the Philip Glass concerts, which were wonderful, and I really wanted to stick my camera over my shoulder like this and take a photo of a guy because he looks just like the artist that's in this book. I thought, no, I can't do that. Besides, Paul will kill me. I'll get in trouble.
Can you give us a little tour of your writing space?